Mr. George Gamble is an absolute icon in the firearms collecting community. If any of you have been to the Gene Autry Museum out in Los Angeles, Mr. Gamble's, a big part of Mr. Gamble's collection is in that museum, and I absolutely would recommend you go to it if you have the chance. But today, we're going to talk about some of his advertisements, particularly firearms, ammunition, and related advertisements that we're going to have coming up in this sale. Now, when we're talking about advertisements, we're talking about like calendars, just different broadsides that maybe some of the manufacturers would put in the stores, and that's where a lot of these would get sent to. They'd get sent to the hardware stores. They get sent to the big dealers, right, to put up there, same as they do today. But just like today, and at that time, they didn't think of the value of these in the future, so a lot of times they'd get rid of them. We've had a lot of these come to us in the past through different hardware stores where they just got closed up, or that stuff did remain in the family. So, but Mr. Gamble collected some of the best over the years, and they're just what you'll find with most of them. They had absolutely fantastic artwork. They would use the best outdoor artists at the time to come up with some of the art for these calendars and for these broadsides. But not only that, we're also going to talk a little bit about some of the cartridge boards. I'm sure you've seen we've sold some of the cartridge boards over the years, whether it's Winchester or UMC. And again, these are absolutely exceptional pieces of advertising at the time that are incredible to still survive today and to be able to put in your gun room along with your gun collection. So the first one that we're going to look at is a calendar from 1922 that was put out by Winchester Repeating Arms Company. Now, Winchester obviously is one of the largest firearms manufacturers during that period of time, so they put out quite a few of these. But again, these just wouldn't last. I don't even have a calendar from last year, nevertheless from 1922. So, and also. The fact that these were printed on paper that, it was not meant to last forever. But as you can see with this one, the colors on it are absolutely exceptional. This is actually a painting that was done by H.G. Edwards, again, a popular outdoor artist at that time. And you can see we've got the rider holding an 1895 Winchester. Obviously, they incorporate a Winchester into their ads, with a grizzly bear standing in front of him on the path and blocking his path. Like any art, it makes you think about just, what's going on here? What's this guy going to do in this situation? How's he going to use his Winchester in this situation? So, again, just a very, very cool piece of Americana, a piece of art, and a piece of history. Next up, we have an advertisement for U.S. Cartridge Company. This is one of my favorites. As you can see, it's an advertisement for the Black Shells, which was a line of their shotgun shells. And in the print, we have a falcon that's attacking two green-winged teal. Just a very cool, very vivid picture that we have here. Now, this artwork is attributed to Lindbergh Hunt, who was probably one of the most famous outdoor artists of that time. Next up, we have another Winchester advertising print. This one is featuring artwork from Philip R. Goodwin, who once again is one of the most famous outdoor artists from that time period. And here we have a hunter on top of the mountain with his trusty Winchester 1895, and he's looking down into the valley at a group of bighorns, and it looks like he's ready to take a shot on the ram in the group. So once again, just absolutely fantastic artwork that just screams the American West. Next up, we have a poster dated 1891, and this is from Austin Powder Company. Now, if that's a name you're not as familiar with, they have not been around for well over 100 years, but they were a very popular powder company at that time. Here we see the main subject of the advertisement is three pointers, which appear to be uncharacteristically sitting with a grassy field in the background, and then a simple ribbon that just says Austin Powder Company. So, a very basic advertisement, but again, just very, very beautiful in its simplicity. Finally, I want to talk about from the George Gamble collection, the 1896 dated calendar of Union Metallic Cartridge Company. Here you can see it has a well-known print called The Navajo War Chief in the Arizona Desert. And this just kind of displays the variations that you might see not only in this collection but in the advertising prints at that time. We've talked about Western hunting themes. We've talked about dog themes. And here, obviously, we have, again, something iconic of the American West, a Navajo war chief. So, again, just a beautiful print, an awesome piece of history that has been saved throughout time and put in the George Gamble collection. As I mentioned, all of the advertisements that we've seen so far are coming to us from the George Gamble collection. Now, one of the great things that Mr. Gamble did, along with R.L. Wilson, a very well-known author in the firearms collecting community, they put together a book of Mr. Gamble's collection, not only of the fantastic firearms that he owned over the years, but also many of these advertisements. Even if you're not able to buy one of these advertisements, I would highly recommend this book just to see some of the absolutely fantastic firearms and advertisements in it. And finally, I would be remiss if I didn't mention some of the cartridge boards that we have coming up in this sale. The first cartridge board I want to talk about is the Winchester Double W 1897 board. This board showed the cartridges that Winchester would have had available at the time and in the iconic Double W configuration. Additionally, it displays some very cool artwork as well, including of ducks, a bear scene, and a moose bust. And finally, we have a Union Metallic Cartridge Company board, which displays everything from a BB cap all the way up to the 1-inch Gatling gun cartridge. The Union Metallic Cartridge Company boards are some of my favorites. We don't see them nearly as often. Once again, these are very cool and available to you in our December premiere sale, which is on December 9th, 10th, and 11th, with the full day preview on December 8th. Please go to our website, www.rockislandauction.com, where you can see the catalog, many photographs of these advertisements, as well as all the fantastic guns we have coming up in that sale. Once again, December 9th, 10th, and 11th, with a full day preview on December 8th.